I have Hindi book. I have Hindi book and English book. I can read if you want me to.
Yeah. If Naveen Bhai is not there, you can read Hindi. Om. 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 Sadashiv Samarambham
Samarambam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya
Madhyamam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmat Acharya Paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Vande Guru Paramparam
Vasudeva Sutam Devam
Vasudeva Sutam Devam
Kansa Chanuramardanam
Kamsa Chanuramardanam
Devaki Paramanandam
Devaki Paramanandam
Krishnam Vande Jagadguru
Krishna Vande Jagadgurum
Shreyo Hi Jnanam Abhyasat
Shreyo hi Jnanam Abhyasa
Jnanadhyanam Vishishyate
Jnanat Jnanam Vishishyate
Dhyanat Karma Phalatyagah
Dhyanat Karma Phala Tyaga
Tyagat Shanti Anantaram.
Tyagat Shanti Anantaram.
So we'll continue from our. We are still on third chapter, which is Karma Yoga. Some of you might miss in the middle, but this is we are Naveen Bhai is there, right? Yeah. So we are still on third chapter, which is Karma Yoga. Last time we talked about Bhagwan told the responsibility of people who are educated, in the sense we can say, right? People like us, we have responsibility to make sure that we set the standards in the society, and we do the action in a way that if people who are ignorant or who are not as educated as others, they follow us. And that, of course, they translate into the responsibility of elders in the family and all society and all. So Bhagavan talked about that, and so he said, we last time we saw that he says, na buddhi bhedam janiyed ajnanam. So the people who are not that clear, don't confuse them. And that happens even today, and that has happened over the centuries, that people get confused by the different practices because the people who are knowledgeable or supposed to be knowledgeable, they don't describe or they don't explain them in right way, and they confuse the people. And so, and who is saying this? Bhagwan Shri Krishna himself, who is absolutely clear about what is to be done in the life. I mean, if we read Bhagwan's character, the entire life, everything is so clear. And that is the reason he is saying that. So we'll read Shlok number 26 of third chapter and then continue forward. So today, now going, like if you look at, I posted today somebody also. So this today's part is, and there is a question also, very, very nicely, there is a question related to the Karma Yoga. Typically the 47 Shlok of second chapter, which is Karmanye Vadhikaraste Mapaleshu. So somebody asked a question that, Are Bhagwan wa bol rahe hain ki don't worry about the phal, you just come. But how do we get motivated to do the karma? Bhagwan is saying, forget about phal. And exactly today what we are going to see, Bhagwan has explained. So kya hota hai ki, we'll talk about that when it comes to that questions time. But yeah, exactly, Bhagwan is going to address that today, that एक श्लोक से काम नहीं चलेगा, आपको समझना पड़ेगा. So we will read 26 and then continue. So Pankaj bhai thing is not there. Jitu bhai, you can read. You have Hindi one, right? Devanagari one. Naveen bhai can read the English part.
Yeah, I can read if you want.
Yeah, Jitu bhai, as he said, he has Devanagari. He wants to. Yeah. So,
Okay.
Naveen bhai, you can read the English part. Shipalji is not there. He is in India. With Pankaj Bhai. Na buddhi bhedam janayed
Na buddhi bhedam janayedam
ajnanam karma sanginam
agyanam karma sanginam
joshayet sarva karmani
yosayet sarva karmani
vidvan yukta samacharan.
vidvan yukta samacharan.
So let me read Hindi one. Jitu bhai, aapke paas Hindi wala, you can read the Gita Press Gorakhpur you have? Yeah, the Gita Press Gorakhpur. You can read the Hindi one. Let's see. 26
Can you
Shloka.
hear me?
Yeah.
सावधान तत्वज्ञ महापुरुष कर्मों में आसक्ति वाले अज्ञानी मनुष्यों की बुद्धि में भ्रम उत्पन्न न करें, प्रत्युत स्वयं समस्त कर्मों को अच्छी तरह से करता हुआ उनसे भी वैसे ही करवाए.
Let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant attached to action. Acting united with the self, let him render all actions attractive.
Right. And last time we saw that not only Bhagavan is saying that you do right, but Joshayet, the word he's used, Josh. Josh means inspire. Inspire them to do right things. You do the right things, and in addition to that, inspire them to do the right thing. And that is social responsibility. And then responsibility of educated or learned people or privileged people. You can say that there are underprivileged and privileged. So privileged people have a responsibility to take care of underprivileged people too. And so Bhagavan is saying Arjun wanted to run away. And Bhagavan is saying if you run away, and everybody knew that if Arjun, and of course including Bhagavan Krishna is a Sarthi of Arjun, then and the whole God Duryodhan knew that if we can somehow stop Arjun, then we win the war. So Bhagavan is saying if you run away, then these people will be killed by Duryodhan, and so you cannot do the Arjun that. You have to fulfill your responsibilities, set up the standard, and continue the. So we'll see. He's going to tell him what to do next. So typically, I mean, we see that in America, for example, it's a very common term like ABCD, right? In our social gatherings everywhere, parents say, oh, this American, our kids born here are ABCD. And I have been right from the beginning, said, let's not say that American born confused, they see. We are telling our kids, it's our responsibility to change that seed. They are not. So we started using term American born convinced desi. They're convinced about their identity. They're convinced about their value system. Don't tell that because they're born here, they don't know the language part or they don't know the tradition. That doesn't mean they're confused. It is our responsibility to convince them in what is right. So let's not use that ABCD in the wrong term. And that has happened, right? That has happened. That has, like many kids, when I work with kids in camp, and they sometimes feel like they don't know or they don't have enough because they're confused. No, you're not confused. That's a responsibility. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. If you don't do that, don't confuse others. Convince them. Clarity. That's the responsibility of educated people. So with that, we'll continue to 27th Shlok, which is another powerful message he's giving here. Right? So 27th Shlok, 3rd chapter again. Prakruteha kriyamanani
Prakrutehe kriyamanani
guneha karmani sarvashah
gunaih karmani sarvasah
ahankar vimudatma
ahankar vimudatma
karta aham iti manyate.
karta aham iti manyate.
Chitu, you are reading, right? You're on mute.
संपूर्ण कर्म सब प्रकार से प्रकृति के गुणों द्वारा किए जाते हैं, परंतु अहंकार से मोहित अंतःकरण वाला अज्ञानी मनुष्य मैं करता हूं ऐसा मान लेता है.
Yeah, this is a powerful Shlok, right?
Actions in all cases are performed by the gunas or qualities of Prakriti, nature. One who is deluded by egoism thinks, I am the doer.
Yeah, so I think Bhagavan is still bit, that's a good teacher, that he keeps switching the gear and brings some concepts or some core principles while he's teaching. So in this shlok, he has brought up a very core principles of Vedantic teaching or Vedic teaching, or in fact Indian thought or Hindu thought. So he's saying that there is a term used, Prakriti, and Prakriti has gun. And we know Prakriti is a nature. In the 17th chapter, we'll talk detail about gun, but here, so the nature, so we can read this shlok like this: Sarvasha karmani prakrite gune kriyamanani. So, jitne bhi karma, the actions are happening because into Prakriti. Prakriti is nature, right? And it is because Prakriti has a gun. And in simple terms, we can say that our senses, our body, they are made of Prakriti. And then the sense objects, for example, suppose tongue is one of our sense, right? And there are food items which are objects. So tongue has its nature to eat, to taste. Eyes cannot taste. Eyes have a nature to see the object. Tongue cannot see the object. That's a rule. Look at that, such a wonderful law created, and that's called Prakriti. Prakriti ke gun hai, and it behaves, the senses, whatever sense is responsible of doing, the sense will do that. आंख जाके वो समोसे को टच नहीं करेगी, समोसे को टच जिह्वा ही करेगी. So this is all made of Prakriti. All senses are Prakriti, and then sense objects are also Prakriti. Guna guneshu vartantu Bhagavan. आगे भी आएगा वो. So Bhagavan is saying कि everything is happening on its own. But this, you, the person who thinks that I am doing, so that Karta aham iti manyate. So we think that, oh, I am doing all this. It is all happening in the Prakriti by nature. But I think that, oh, I am doing something. I am changing. Oh, we can change the world. We can make, like for example, we have satellite and everything in the universe, right? Or in Akash, right? Satellites placed in orbit. But we still cannot say that I'm going to change the motion of sun. Yeah, we can utilize that sun's presence and send the satellite and take the energy and use it. But the nature, Prakriti, you cannot change. But this person thinks that, oh, I am. So Bhagavan, the reason Bhagavan is saying that all the senses, including mind, they are based on the nature. And you think that, oh, you are going to do that. That arrogance called ahankar. So there are two messages Bhagavan is giving. One in the second chapter, entire thing is that Atma, which is our true nature. Atma is not a doer. Atma is not participating in anything. Atma is Sakshi, witness of everything. Senses are working because of Prakriti among the sense objects. But now I started thinking that ahankar, that I am doing it. No, Atma is not the doer. It is all the sense. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. So the Bhagavan brought one term is the Kartapan. And this is because this is Karma Yoga. So one of the important element of Karma Yoga is the doer. But and then that's what the shlok will come. We'll talk about that Karmanyavadika Raste. So Bhagavan says you just play the role of a doer. Like in the drama or in the movie, you are given a role. There is a script given. You just play the script. You are not going to say, oh no, I'll come 10 minutes before the time. No, your role starts here at that time. You come and play the role that time. You cannot say, I'll come 10 minutes before and do my role. The whole script will go in haywire. And that's what happened. So the script, the Prakriti nature is working on its own. We want to change the course of nature and think, oh, I can make the change. And that is called ahankar. That is called ego. And for example, here, Bhagavan is telling Arjun that you are part of this whole Yuddha, right? There is a dharma Yuddha. You cannot run away because you want to change your role. Oh, instead of Yuddha, I want to be a sannyasi. No, that that's your arrogance, that's your ahankar, that I want to be a sannyasi. So take part and do whatever role is assigned to you. And that's what he is. So Prakriti is the nature, and all these sense objects and senses are the product of Prakriti, basically. So Bhagavan is saying, let the course, you be part of the play. Don't try to change the play, in simple terms. And when you try to change the play, this is called ahankar. So there is a term here used like lower ahankar, and you read Shastra, and then like absolute I and then relative I. So relative I is a small I, absolute I is a bigger I. So I think that I am the relative I because we are brought up like that. Everything is relative. And relative in the sense we compare with each other. And that is ahankar, lower I. But actually we are the absolute I, which is Atma, which is nirvikar, is unchangeable, untainted nature. So Bhagavan is saying that this is that ahankar lower level, I am doing it. Atma doesn't do it. Atma is a sakshi. So remain that. So there is a story. There was a lady in a town. In old time there was no watch. It's an old story. And in the morning, the hen, the murga, it just chuckles or whatever we call it. Murge ki jo bang hai, I think English word is chuckling or something. They just make sound in the morning. So they'll say make sound in the morning, and everybody knows that now it is going to be sunrise. It's morning because murga bang deta tha to subah hoti hai, aisa kawat. Even then the hen will chuckle or whatever sound they will make. Then it is morning time. And this old lady had hen in the village, and एक बार क्या हुआ, उसका झगड़ा हो गया लोगों से, like something she was not aligned with, people were complaining. She said, I'm going to leave the town if you people disturb me. So somebody said, okay, then you leave the town. He said, no, but if I leave the town, you won't have sunrise in your town. Because it is because of my hen, there is a sunrise. They make the sound and there is a sunrise. So I'm going to leave the town. And she left the town in anger. But next day sun came again. Because it is not you who bringing the sunrise, right? It is by chance when sunrise happens that hen make the sound. So nature has its own course. So Bhagavan says, you think that you are making things, you are so Arjun, you are thinking that you will run away, so there will be a peace. Or you will participate in war that will be a killing. Both are wrong. It is all script is written, and we'll see Bhagavan is saying. So Bhagavan is saying, no. You just take part in this whole drama, which is Prakriti. So Bhagavan said that's what. So all the karmani, sarvasha, all karmani, prakriti hai kriyamani, prakriti ke dwara ho rahe. Everything is happening. Ahankar vimudatma, the person who is deluded by ego, he says karta aham iti manyate, I am doing it. And at the lower, this is like Adhyatmic level. At the lower level also we do in our life, in the job, in the family. We say that ego translates into day-to-day life. I am the doer. I do that. It is mine. And that is the problem. There is me, or I, or mine. That's what I want. So he'll elaborate in the next Shloka. But that's why he has given a signal to Arjun that, that thinking that I'm going to change something, forget about that. So you are, and in the beginning also there is a Shloka in the second chapter of Bhagavan says that even if you win the war, you're going to serve the people. And if you die in the war, you are going to serve because people will remember you as a warrior who's working for dharma. So in both cases, you are performing your duty. So just that's your role. Tatova parapsasi sargam jitvava bhokshase mahim. Tasmat uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kritnishchaya. Just do your duty. And it is a wonderful message here. And that's what we most are get deluded by my role, that I am doing something, I am doing. So he's continuing in the next Shloka 28. 28 Shloka is the third chapter. Tatvittu mahabaho.
Tattvavittu mahabaho.
Guna karma vibhagayoh.
Guna karma vibhagayoh.
Guna guneshu vartante.
Guna guneshu vartanta.
Iti matva na sajjate.
Iti matva na sajjate.
परंतु हे महाबाहो, गुण विभाग और कर्म विभाग को तत्व से जानने वाला महापुरुष संपूर्ण गुण ही गुणों में बरत रहे हैं, ऐसा मानकर उनमें आसक्त नहीं होता।
But he, O Mahabaho, with a true insight into the distinctions of gunas and actions, knowing that gunas abide in gunas, is not attached. First gunas is senses and second gunas as objects.
That's correct. So Bhagavan has said, na sajjate. See, the whole goal here is teaching is that anasakti. I mean, that's the essence of karma yoga, anasakti. Anasakti not towards the karma. Karma, because if we have anasakti towards karma, that we will not perform karma. So, and then we will not be efficient and we will not be putting the genuine effort into karma. So, anasakti cannot be towards karma. Whenever Bhagavan is using anasakti means detachment or not clinging. So he says anasakti means towards the karma phal. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. This person, now the ahankar, like these two shlokas. First shlok is about Adhyani, where he or she thinks that I am doing everything. And then that's what Bhagavan sees. He is a vimudatma, he is a deluded person. Because the ahankar is saying, I am doing. The second slok is about the Jnani. Tatvit means who knows the essence. Vid means to know, tat means the essence. And what is the tattva? That, like Naveen Bhai said in English, right? Guna karma vibhag. So guna and karma. So guna means, like saying again, simple is that sense objects and senses. They work, the senses work with sense objects, and this is all prakriti. And I give the example, like if tongue has to taste or eat, tongue will do that. Ear cannot eat. Ear has to listen to sound. That's why when we do dhyan also, our rishis have designed a very nice way that these are the 5 elements, and each 5 parts jo hamari senses hai. Each senses has and one of the elements, like water, earth, eyes can see the fire, or skin can feel the air. Others cannot feel the air. So very well they have defined in the Sankhya, because all these, and that is called Guna Karma Vibhag. And based on that, all these senses are acting. And then not only this sense of perception, then sense of action, the legs and the hands and all those things. So Bhagavan says that this person who knows this principle, it's a very simple principle, Sankhya. And that's what we do in our dhyan. This person knows that Guna Guneshu Vartante. This is happening on its own. Everything is. The other person thinks, I am doing it. So he says, and this, by doing this, he or she doesn't get asakti. So how to remove the asakti? Simple is that we have to understand what the senses are doing, what the karmindriyas, what the object. In the second chapter, in fact, Sthit Pragya Bhagavan talked about that too. So, Vishya Vinivartante Niraharaste Dehina Rasvarjam Rasokyaste Param Drashtva Nivartate. He says that all these sense objects will continue to indulge or continue to enjoy the objects. Senses will continue to. And even if you sit in meditation and think that I'm not going to eat, I 16-hour fasting, whatever, 14-hour fasting, but I'm going to get, and then you might say, oh, yeah, I'm hungry. You will get the food in thought. And Bhagavan says that happens. I'm just giving a very simple and crude example, but we all know what Bhagavan is saying, that we think that I'm doing a meditation, but I'm enjoying all the taste of the whatever things in my life or around me, right? And Bhagavan says the only way in that is second chapter Shlok, only way to get rid of Param Drashtva Nivartate. When you reach to the higher level, that go, Param Drashtva means Bhagavan, whatever we call it, that higher goal. Then only those that ras, the joy, which is mental joy, will go away. Otherwise, yeah, physically I can control. I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do that. But mentally, I'm still doing things. The rust remains. That's dopamine or serotonin, whatever names are there. They are there. They play their role inside the brain. So the only way to control that is Paramdrashta. That's what he's saying. That is Tattvavit. And Tattvavit can be anasakt. Anasakti, he's talking about the high level, but stages of anasakti also comes. So that's the reason we say do dhyan. That's the reason we say do sandhya vandanam. Because shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. You have to keep doing. And that's where we get tattvavit. And once we are tattvavit, it slowly anasakti will come. I mean, it can happen to someone in one day, Vivekan kind of person. But normal people like us, that's the reason we do sadhana every day, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, churning, applying this principle in personal life. Otherwise, ahankar is like body-mind complex. It is going to play its role. So with that, we'll go to 29. So 27 was Agyani, 28 was Jnani. Now he's continuing. What happens after that? Prakrite gun sammudha
Prakrute guna sammuddha
sajjante gun karmasu
sajjante guna karmasu
tan kratsna vido mandan
tan krishna vido mandan
kratsna vin vichalayet.
krishna vinna vichalayet.
प्रकृति जन्य गुणों से अत्यंत मोहित हुए अज्ञानी मनुष्य गुणों और कर्मों में आसक्त रहते हैं। उन पूर्णतया न समझने वाले मंद बुद्धि अज्ञानियों को पूर्णतया जानने वाला ज्ञानी मनुष्य विचलित न करे।
Those deluded by the gunas or qualities of prakriti are attached to the functions of gunas. The one of a perfect knowledge should not unsettle the dull-witted whose knowledge is imperfect.
Yeah. So it is a repetition of the 26th slok where he said that people who are educated, they should not confuse, like nabuddhi vedanja. It's the same, but here he's saying one thing, because I know that guna guneshu vartante. And it is like simple example that a story we know. The story is about so many people applied to, but there was a saint and somebody took the kid to saint and said that my kid is like eating sweets or chocolates every day. He or she doesn't listen. Can you just explain him not to eat? And the story says that saint had come after 1 week. And after 1 week, they came and then he explained to the kid, don't eat this. And the mother asked, like, why you didn't explain anything new? Like, you just explained to him, don't eat, it will harm you. Why it took you 1 week? And he said, because I tried myself first. And now I can tell him. So that's what Bhagavan is saying. The Jnani Purush understands guna karma vibhag, like earlier explained. And simple in terms, senses and sense objects. They work together. And that's a nature. Eye's nature is to see. Tongue's nature is to eat. And we find the attractive object. And we do that. Like for Miami में जाइए तो वहाँ पर वो bus tour लेते हैं. So there is a street called Million Mile. The street called Million Mile. A 1 mile is street, but उसका नाम है Million Mile. Then I asked this guy, the guide, why what? This is a 1 mile street. Why are you calling Million Mile? He said it is so attractive. And maybe there is a history behind that. That any young person will come here. He is going to buy for his girlfriend or wife or spouse something, and things are very expensive. So people spend millions of dollars. It's so attractive, the shops and everything. That's why the street is called Million Mile. Yeah. So when in the world also, when we travel, this whole world is Million Mile. So many things attract me, and then that's what Bhagavan is saying. But this person understands that. And again, this comes to sense control. We call it Indriya Nigraha. The whole goal of yoga practices, Ashtanga Yoga, is one of that Ashtanga Yoga practice, Indriya Nigraha. I should take only what I need. And that translates to, again, need and greed. That's why happened the problem. Like, because of the greed, we consume many things which are not required. And the example given by some philosopher that the breakfast is not a need of human being, but we have developed that habit. Whatever reason, there is a marketing out there. Now we are habitual of having breakfast, but it was never a need. If you have lunch and dinner, that's it. So all these things need versus greed. So Bhagavan is saying this person, Krasnavid. Krasna means complete. And Krasnavid means he knows exactly how this world works. But at the same time, जो नहीं समझते मंदान, the people who don't know, this person doesn't confuse them. In the previous shlok, Bhagavan says, not only confuse them, guide them in the right direction. And that is the purpose of all these teachings, all these translations done by, because we should keep repeating, keep practicing, and then set the examples. Yad yad acharati shreshta tadev itaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokah tadanvartate. Set the standards, practice it, and then people will follow. We'll go to 30th shlok, which is
संजय जी,
yeah.
संजय जी, ऐसा हो सकता है कि 26 in 26th he is talking to about people who have more rajas, and in 29th about people who have more tamas.
Well, as he didn't specifically say, but because that 26th he was just talking about, he didn't specifically say what karma sangi naam he has given. Here he is saying that the knowledge, probably Bhagavan is kind of going to reinforce that.
Because I was thinking, because he was talking about karma in 26, which is action, and
Yeah.
here he says moha,
Yeah.
29. So I was just thinking.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we can say that too. But yeah, he is reinforcing the responsibility. Understand and take the responsibility. We will go to 30th because that's what today's year. This summarizes the whole 4-5 shlok, right? 30th shlok. Mai sarvani karmani
Mai sarvani karmani
sanyasyadhyatma chetasa
sanyasya adhyatma chetasa
nirashir nirmamo bhutva
nirashi nirmamo bhutva
yuddhasva vigata jvaraha.
युद्धस्य विगत ज्वरः.
तू विवेकवती बुद्धि के द्वारा संपूर्ण कर्तव्य कर्मों को मेरे अर्पण करके कामना रहित, ममता रहित और संताप रहित होकर युद्ध रूप कर्तव्य कर्म को कर.
Renouncing all actions in me with thoughts resting on the self, free from hope and attachment, fight without mental fever.
Right. In this shlok, he has actually, that's where, and we'll talk about that question in last 10 minutes. That question person has asked that, and because that one shlok, if you read 47 shlok, second chapter, Karmanyeva Adhikaraste, and this shlok, in this shlok, Bhagavan has exactly explained what he said in second chapter, 47 shlok. He has broken down, here is actually exactly the step-by-step program, which is Karma Yoga. So here Bhagavan is elucidating the technique where is karma and its karma phal. Cease to bind the actor. Problem is that in karma, the domain of karma is that we are bound by karma, not by karma, by karma phal. So Bhagavan is saying, if you follow this technique, and we'll see that there are 5 stages, 5 steps Bhagavan has given, the factors. If you follow these, they are not going to bind you. And it is not just for Arjun, it is for everyone. And that's the reason Karma Yoga is so popular. The first is he's saying Adhyatma Chetasa. And Chetasa, we saw that Chetana means in simple terms is a consciousness, awareness. Or it is related to buddhi, Vivek buddhi. So first thing is in Karma Yoga is you have to use that Vivek buddhi. So there are 3 stages basically we say. Shuddhi, buddhi, and siddhi. It applies to everything. It's not just adhyatma. Shuddhi, buddhi, and siddhi. So first thing here, shuddhi means you understand the whole process, you are purified. Then buddhi, then intellect come, and then siddhi. Siddhi means accomplish something else. And that's what he's saying. So adhyatma chetsa means shuddha, buddhi, and then we use the shuddha buddhi, discriminative power basically. That's the first stage of Karma Yoga sadhana. And what does it mean? Set up the right, there's no goal, but at least you know what you want to do in life. In Adhyatmic life, we are saying. And the simple answer is do Panch MahaYagna. What somebody asks what to do. Panch MahaYagna is the process or the goals, or we have to use goal word. Our Shastra has already defined. So that should be the first stage. Use the Shuddha Buddhi to do the right thing. And what you want to do in life, like that, right? Say in simple terms. The second comes Sanyasya Karmani. And we saw in the one of the definition of Karma Yoga is that Prasad Buddhi. Accept everything as Bhagwan's Prasad. Surrender all your karma to Bhagwan, and whatever result comes, accept as Prasad. That is one of the Karma Yoga's definition. That's what he's saying here. Sannyas means devote, not sannyas also. The word has come from the same. That devote to whom? Karmani, mai, to me. No, it's not. Bhagwan is saying me means Krishna Bhagwan. To a higher goal, to a calling. And that's what say work is worship. Because just assume that everything what you're doing is for Bhagwan, for the sake of, if you don't say Bhagwan, for the Lok Sangra. That's what this whole chapter is about, Lok Sangra. Lok Sangra is higher goal. And the third thing he's saying, Nirashi. But when two things happen, you have a goal. Now you assume that everything I surrender to Bhagwan. But Nirashi. Asha means expectation. Now don't expect something to, obviously there is some expectation happen, but stay free. Try to develop that mindset that you're not expecting things. And I always give example to kids class or youth class. They always ask like, how can you live without expectation? And I said, one of the Shloka in Gita, it is in the second chapter, it says that reduce the expectation and increase the acceptance. That's the formula. And that is called samatvam, equanimity. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Yoga karma sukoshanam. All those shloka. That's what Bhagwan is saying. Reduce the expectation. It cannot be just remove expectation in one day. At the same time, increase the acceptance. So whatever comes, we'll accept. And if expectation reduce. And one day it will come that you are going to accept everything as it. That is called prasada. And that's to stay away anxiety, because expectation is nothing but anxiety. I'm anxious, and anxiety goes to mental health and all of it. The next Bhagavan says, stay free from this nirmama. Nirmama is self-centeredness. Mera, 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 mera. So karma yoga, one of the condition is that reduce that mera, mera. Of course, there will be something, but so stay away from, or stay free from self-centeredness. It is just mine, and that's the problem Arjun had, right? He was thinking my grandfather, my Guruji, my relatives. And Bhagwan, the entire second chapter, he is telling him it's not about you or others. Everything is same. Everything is one Atma. We are all part of this whole drama. The problem, Arjun, you are thinking yourself is separate. So that's self-centered. Nirmama. Mera, mera, mera. I think it is all ours. And in fact, in management, we teach also that in the teamwork, you don't say I did it, you say we did it. And it's very common, right? These days, we did it. In the family also, we should say that you should never say that I did it, and that's a problem. You should say we did it. And that's what he's saying, nirmama. And the last thing he said, vikata jwara. Jwara means basically jwar, Ayurveda to jwar comes the bukhar hota hai. Yeah. It's as simple as that when body's temperature is not 98.5, which is normal. It is either low or too low or too high. That is called jwar in medicine also. So things are not balanced. And Vikata Jwara, Bhagavan is saying, here is saying the mental agony. Body temperature to hota hai, control karna hai, but the problem is mental fever jo hota hai. We all know that. Bada khatarnak hota hai. Dikhta nahi hai. Lekin mera dimag kharab ho gaya. Ye dimag kharab ho gaya means ye Vikata Jwara hai. Bhagavan bol. So stop this business of saying mera dimag kharab ho gaya. Vigat means stop. And Jwara means that मेरा दिमाग खराब हो गया. So one is simple. And Arjun का दिमाग ही खराब हो गया. वो बोला ही था भगवान को कि मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Brahmati vache me mana. The word he has used in first chapter. Brahmati vache me mana. Brahm is whirling. My mind is whirling. Bhagwan, he says that. हम लोग बोलते हैं मेरी खोपड़ी घूम गई है. So Bhagwan is saying stay away from that. If you have these 5 things, you are practicing karma yoga. And that's that. So So, we'll talk about that question. So Bhagavan is saying, Arjun, embody these. And for what? And Bhagavan is a very smart teacher. He's not saying ki ho gaya to bhag jao. He said, pursue your, so he said, yuddhasva vigajjura. Sab hone ke baad karna kya hai? Yuddhasva. Bhagavan is very smart. He's bringing him back to the, what is his assigned responsibility. Yuddha to pura karna hi hai tujhe. So karma yoga doesn't mean you're just happy, you don't have any problem. No. Karma yoga means karma, efficiently you're doing karma now. Of course, you have all these 5 things. You have Adhyatmic chetsa, you have sanyasya karmani, nirashi, nirmama, vikatachvara. But continue to do your karma. And that's what Bhagavan is yuddha. So Arjun ko bol rahe yuddha means it is a dharma yuddha. And to us also, like when we read, karma yoga means all these things for what? For performing the duty. Sadharma, jo bhi hai. Like, we'll continue that. So I think we'll stop here with this. So again, this all nullifies the ahankar. Sara goal ye hai ki ye sab karne, karmyogi is, there's nirhankari. And when ahankar is gone, the prakriti is, prakriti doesn't have control over you. You are at the atma level. And then you are free. There is no, the bandhan is gone. And that's the goal. Anasakti means the bandhan of karma phal is gone. Yeah, we have to read these things again and again to get a better understanding. And that's the reason we have to read Bhagavad Gita every day, many times. And maybe we will visit 3rd chapter few more times, we get better clarity. And that's what Bhagavan is saying. So we'll stop here and just take that question, and it's related. Question is not outside of this. So I'll